All right, perspective drawing. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to practice drawing some shapes that take up space. I'm going to show you guys some quick one-point perspective drawing techniques, and I want you to just kind of practice them a little bit. And so as you can see, I isolated a page of paper so that I'm not on top of anything else, and it's not, I'm not drawing on the back of anything I've already drawn. Then what I'm going to do is draw a basic square, make a vanishing point for myself, which is a point in the distance, and I'm going to connect all the corners of the box to it, as long as any of those connections would not pass through the shape I'm trying to draw. I'm going pretty fast here, as you can see, because I sped the video up. It's about 15 minutes of me drawing, and it cuts it down to about 7. So if I'm going too fast at any point and you want to try again, just pause it, or just watch it again afterwards and leave it running while you're working. Now I'm going to shade this in, and the little circle that I drew off to the left-hand side, that's to insinuate where the light is coming from. It's going to help me decide which edges of the box get shaded. So anything that's not directly facing the light is going to be shaded in like a medium tone. Anything that's opposite the light is going to be shaded in really darkly, because there will be less light reaching that area. This isn't super important for the grander scheme of these particular drawings, like how dark you make your darks and how medium tones you make your medium tones. But it will come in later when we start using perspective techniques to draw things from real life. Now, you can see right there what I did is I drew the shadow on the opposite side of where the light was coming from. Then, because the top of the shadow is going to be parallel to the top of the box, I knew it was going to go to the vanishing point. Now here, I move my light down, and that's going to change the angle of where that shadow is coming out from. It's going to make some of the shadow come out from the back side of the box. Does that make sense? Anyways, if you're confused on that one, it's not the biggest problem in the world. Just try to avoid diagonal shadows, and you can kind of get away with that, and I'll go over it again when we start drawing from life. Now what I want you to do is try and draw a couple of cubes, try and draw a couple of rectangles. Then I want you to try and draw still keep them straight lines to save yourself some heartache, and try and draw some interesting shapes. So this one I poke a hole through. Remember, if I start drawing a line to the vanishing point, like from that bottom corner, and it would pass through part of the shape, I need to stop the line. Don't want to draw across the face of my shape. Then what I'm going to do is go back here, make my ruler parallel, slide it back to where I'm going to end my shape, and end the shape. Just like that. Do the same thing on the inside, and that way what I'm going to do is end up making a square ring here. And just to make it a little bit more interesting, what I'm going to do is make another one on top that's going to pass through the center of that ring in a second. Now, same kind of shading rules apply. I decide where my light's going to come from, and then I'm going to shade it in. I won't do that on these shapes until I'm done drawing everything that's going to interact with them. So otherwise, if I had shaded that first ring in before I started drawing my second, I would end up smudging it around with my knuckles as I kept moving my hand around to draw. Now, if you don't have a ruler to use, then what you can do is take a page out of the back of your notebook, or take any kind of straight thing you have. It doesn't necessarily need measurements on it, because we're not measuring these. We're just using it as a straight edge. So you can literally use the inside of a cardboard box, or the page from the back of the notebook, or if you have another notebook, you can just lay that notebook on top and use it as a straight edge. You can really use anything that's straight and flat. And now by defining the edges of the second ring, once I've already got those long lines that go all the way to the vanishing point drawn, I can change how I want it to fit. So like I haven't made all the decisions about what size that ring is going to be until after I have those long lines that go to the vanishing point. And then I can kind of change up how the tail end of that shape is going to look. if you're feeling super comfortable with rectangles and you're thinking you want to try something really different, then what you can do is try and do something that doesn't have corners. So now there's a lot of like weird rules that go along with doing things that are round or have curves, because the line is really a collection of points. So what you want to do is just find the widest spots you can. Those are essentially going to be your corners. And then you just need to make sure that the curve in the front matches the curve in the back. And that's how you do a simple circle. That's going to be like a tube, right? Or a pipe. Now, when I start shading this in, obviously there's no edges, so you're going to have a dark side, and then it's just going to kind of fade in until you get to the light side where the light's coming from. The same rules apply with the shadow going to the vanishing point. So I just take a second, line that up, and then shade that in. Now the inside here, there's going to be a little bit of reflected light across the edge. So that side right there against where the inside of the pipe where the light can't reach at all is going to be darker. Right. Now, what I want you guys to do is not like make hundreds and hundreds of these. I want you to just watch these until you feel like you understand it a little bit. And then I want you to give me a half an hour where you just draw shapes, shade them in, and make them go to a vanishing point. Draw shapes, shade them in, and go to a vanishing point. After about a half an hour of it, just wrap it up. And then next week, I'm going to show you guys how to use those same techniques to draw some stuff from life. All right. Thank you. And I really appreciate your hard work on this.